For fuck's sake, what we gonna do, for fuck's sake, the world's gone mad and I'm sharing it with you. For fuck's sake, so sit right down, grab a glass of wine, maybe a cup of tea and some chocolates, and join me for another For Fuck's Sake.
Matt, where's my applause machine? Where did I put it? I just had the piano work. Thank you. You guys have got to applaud a bit more. Because normally I'd be... All right, so, question. We need to know if I sound like a Dalek. I mean, this has to happen fairly soon. We have to find out if this is happening. Because, you know, this is very, very, very important stuff. Yeah, Matt, come over here and see if you can't get me up and moving. I don't know why I can't get that going. Welcome to a very Wednesday episode of For Fuck's Sake with me, Judith Owen. It's a bit of a serious one today. I think we've been having too much fun. I mean, I think... there I am. Let's turn... Oh, dear. Let's turn... Yes, there it is. That's how I get to... Thank... Matt, this is how... This is how I get to see what you're saying and figure out. There you are. Good evening, Megan McLeod. Love the intro. Isn't it? It's wild, isn't it? It just means that I can never start with a serious song because it's been blown out the water. It's so carry on. It's so not double entendre. You know, it's so kind of British and dreadful that I can't follow it with a classy song because it just doesn't work. So I have to speak. But anyway, it's quite a serious, you can probably tell by the orchids, it's a serious show today because I've been of the mind and I'm joined here by the fabulous Matt Midland. Yes! Let's hear it for yourself. Desperate. Because David Torkanowski, Twinkle Toes, yes, he of the light foot and of the crashing through the scenery, he's gone away onto a boo, so maybe now we'll have a professional show. Now, how is it all sounding? How do we think it's all sounding, people? I'm not getting you're like a fucking Dalek. I'm getting hi, Judith. Nobody's gone. Oh, it's sounding good. We've got a sounding good already. Oh, screw that. Then we're on. We're cooking with gas. Reparations is the name of the game. I'm moving over here now. Reparations is the name of the game. Now, why would I say that? Well, you see, I just got together this week. A couple of weird things happened to me. I want to share with you because I think you'll really appreciate this story. I've been talking a lot with friends about reparations. I have a friend here in New Orleans who's just joined this incredible organization called the Innocence Project. This is an organization all over America who try to get people out of prison who are in usually for like 20 to 50 years, sometimes life. And they're in there and they haven't done anything. They might have like once, you know, when they were kids or something, stolen some cigarettes or, you know, taken a pair of shoes or something, but basically wrong place, wrong time, wrong color. And here they are, they're in pretty much for life. And I have been so moved by this. I'm going to talk more about this because I'm actually going to go into this in a bigger way on another For Fuck's Sake. But it started me thinking very much about the way that we treat people and the crimes that have been, you know, made against individuals just because they're a certain color and we're scared and guilty and we've got away with it, and this is stopping now, as we know. But here's a story that I came across because my fabulous husband Harry Shearer had it on his radio show this Sunday, Le Show. If you've never checked this out, shame on you. It's a work of art and a miracle, and it's only been going forever, and you can always get it harryshearer.com. This story that I just found out about is so shocking to me. It's about, this is another community who we've like shit all over just because we're actually trying to deny the fact that this is their country originally, this was their country, and that we're guilty and ashamed and slightly scared. So Native American Indians or American Indians, or Native Americans actually, this time it's North Americans in so much as it's Canada. Now, I'm sitting here in New Orleans. We all know that this is a very liberal, small C Catholic city. I'm looking at my guys over here. Also the lovely Mike Mayhew. And honestly, it really is one of those cities where you kind of think, hey, the kind of good stuff comes out of Catholicism here because it's all about carnival and just getting drunk and being forgiven. But, you know, I'm sure there's been a lot of horrible stuff happen here too. But now we move to Canada, And I'm going to tell you after this first song this story about Canada, Catholicism, and the way that they have treated their First Nations, which is their North American natives, Native American North Americans. And it is quite something. And of course, that what that really means is that I have to. There's never been a more appropriate time. As the Air Force goes over in a jet, there has never been a more appropriate time for me to sing this song, this Joni Mitchell Cherokee Louise. Cherokee Louise is hiding in the tunnel of the Broadway Bridge. We're crawling on our knees, we've got flashlights and batteries, we've got cold cuts from the fridge. Last year around this time, we used to climb up in the branches and just sway there in some breeze. Now the cops are on the street, they want my Cherokee Louise. People like to talk, tongues are wagging over fences, wagging over phones. All the doors are locked. God, she can't even come to our house, but I know where she'll go. To the place where you can stand and stretch your hands like it was bubble bath in dust, but hides me down under this street, my friend Cherokee Louise. Ever since we turned 13, it's like a minefield walking through the door. Going out, you get the third degree, and coming in, you get the third Oh, a Tuesday afternoon, we put our pennies on the rails, and when the train rolled by, we were rounding round like fools, going, look, no heads, no tails, going, look, my lucky prize. Then she runs on to her foster dad. He opens up his zipper and he yanks her to her knees. Oh, please be here, please. Cherokee Louise.
Cherokee Louise. Cherokee Louise. Cherokee Louise.
Slow clap, I think, guys. Slow, meaningful, arduous. Oh, what are we saying in there? Oh, Andrew Robertucci is watching. This is exquisite. You got it all fixed. Martina, we got it all fixed. We did. Oh, my sister, darling Susan Owen. Hi, fantastic. Well, I would just like to say that here we have two men to make up for David Torkanowski's brilliance, and yet perhaps not. No, it was truly a what was it, guys? It was like an update in the machine. It was things not speaking to each other, because that's what fucking well happens in technology. It's like chasing the dragon. I don't even know what that means. I think it's drugs. But I mean, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, you just go forever, couldn't you? Just trying to find this. It was a full moon. I drunk the Kool-Aid. It's whatever it was. Thank you, my friends. I'm back. I am absolutely back. Let me tell you about this story. I mean, I'm taking you down with me here. By the way, I've noticed, looking at me, like there, I've got the hair. My hair is like in a wild, abandoned state. This is what happens when you're in humidity. It's like you have the skin of a 9-year-old. My skin looks amazing. Hair like a fucking bush. I mean bush. Not, you know. Thank you. Thank you, Matt. I made Matt laugh. That is almost a David. It was straight face. It was a carpet. The carpets, yeah, the drapes, carpet, rugs. You know how it is. Bush. So, let me share this fucking story with you. It is absolutely, if you haven't, maybe you already know this, but I got to share this with you. A former indigenous school, they call, the indigenous people. Canada unearths a brutal history. Just when you think your life is terrible and bad and you've been really struggling with COVID, then you read this and then it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. They found, they think, 182 buried children underneath basically what was St. Eugene's Mission School near Cranbrook, operated, strangely enough, by the Catholics. It was a church from, this is going to kill you, 1912 until the 1970s, and again, that song, there's Joni, she was singing, there's a very famous song that she wrote about the Magdalene laundries, about the place in Ireland where these young girls who were pregnant would go and their lives were ruined, and they would figure out that they could just basically have, slave labor and have them doing the laundries. Their children were given away or worse. This is everywhere. It's everywhere, isn't it? It's Aborigines in Australia. It's the fucking, mad, rabid sort of evangelists, missionaries going to Africa. It's whatever goes to try and beat the culture out of you because your culture's wrong. You're wrong, you people, you small other cultured people. You're wrong. We've got this. Anyway, I rant. But it's really kind of shocking. Now listen to this. This is unbelievable. Until the late 20th century, the children of Canada's First Nations, which is that's their native North American community, indigenous people, were forcibly enrolled in 139 residential reform schools. Reform for being them, They were physically and emotionally abused by teachers and principals who refused them the right to speak their language and practice, their beliefs. They operated in Canada, these places, for over 150 years, with more than 150,000 children passing through their doors until the last ones. Closed, wait, you might have to lie down. Closed in 1996. Indigenous children were taken from their families. This almost reminds me of Paris Hilton. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going to rant about that on another show. That's just because I know a kid that actually went to one of those reform, make your spoilt rich kid grow up and get over their fucking problems. Anyway, they were taken from their families by force. They were housed in crowded, state-funded, church-run facilities where they were abused and forbidden from speaking their language. The system's purpose was, I quote, this was their what's it called, their what's the word when you've got a mission statement? Literally, a mission statement was to kill the Indian in the child. The use of the word school is a misnomer. Misnomer, says Cindy Blackstock, who's a professor at Montreal's McGill University, because really the intent was to assimilate these. It wasn't to assimilate these students. These were prison camps, and so it's not so much assimilate as to wipe them out. A Truth and Reconciliation Commission, I love that, established in 2008 to investigate residential schools called the practice cultural genocide. Yeah, let's just say what it is. Many children never returned home. I mean, Blencon's on the phone, but he can't get through because I'm doing a show. Now, you see, why would that come in when I've shut everything up? Oh, it's terrible. David Blencon, naughty boy. Anyway, I love him to bits. So basically, they never returned home, these kids, at all. It reminds me a little bit of the children on the border, doesn't it, from Mexico? Either dying from neglect, disease, or suicide. There's a threefer. Their families learnt little about their fates. Some were told nothing at all. Their children simply disappeared. The federal government stopped recording the deaths around 1920 after the chief medical officer for Indian Affairs suggested children were dying at an alarming rate. They identified 4,120 children who went missing from around 150 schools. But the New York Times believes the number was well beyond 10,000. Oh, God. Now, they find these mass burial sites, so it's not like they're missing. I think we know what happened. Some survivors talked about infants who were born to young girls at the residential schools, infants who had been fathered by priests. And that's where we're going here, isn't it? That's what we're looking at. And here's the ringer. Here is really the most shocking thing. Their children were taken away from them and deliberately killed, their babies, sometimes thrown into furnaces. The commission requested that the Canadian government conduct a fuller inquiry into the missing children, but their request was denied. And the work is now being done piecemeal, led by the indigenous communities. So the government won't, it's like, what is it? Denial, shame, guilt, it's everything, isn't it? But it's those people, so who cares? They're troublemakers. The federal government has promised to assist communities financially with the searches. This is absolutely astonishing to me. It's an astonishing thing. I'm sorry to be so bloody bleak on our fun time here together, but I do think that this is the most extraordinary. Don't you think? This is just a shocking story. I mean, we're used to shocking stories at this point, but this one kind of takes the biscuit. And I have to say, there's another Britishism, takes the biscuit. And it reminds me very much of the reason why I wrote this next song. Because you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You don't know what's going on behind what seems to be, incredibly respectful seemingly places of honor, places of trust, places where people are meant to be helping other people. You just don't know what's going on, whether it be family or institution. You have no goddamn idea. And that's why I wrote this song, and I have to sing it after that story. This is a song I rarely do, especially without the fabulous Leland Sklar and Pedro, but this is Shiny Houses. In a country, in a small town, in a village full of friends, in a warm house, in a bedroom, sits a girl who never tells. Who would believe it? Who would wonder? Happy families, one and all. There is one who comes to see her, who pins her up against the wall. Where will you go? Tell me. What will you do to find a friend? What will you be? Tell me. When will this nightmare end? And when will this be done? In a country, in a city, in a street of wealthy men, in a warm house, in a nursery, sits a boy who's never well. 'Cause bad things hide in shiny houses. Who can tell when seen afar? Public faces are for public. Darkness makes the brightest stars. Where will you go? Tell me. What will you do to find a friend? Who will you be? Tell me. How will this nightmare end? When will this be done? Power does what power pleases. Liars tell the best of lies. Everybody hides in plain sight, keeping secrets in the tribe. And bad things hide in shiny houses. Oh. you go? Ah, tell me, what will you do to find a friend? What will you be? Tell me, when will this nightmare end? When will this be? When will this be? When will this be done? I told you it was going to be a bleak one today. I just, you know, I cannot pretend to be happy, you know. I cannot pretend to be, you know what I mean, happy. I am happy. I'm in a good mood. I'm in a great mood. But I cannot pretend after reading something like this or having the conversation I did last night, you know, with my friend about the Innocence Project. I cannot be like, let's just have a fun. I'm just fucking grateful I don't sound like a Dalek, and I still don't sound like a Dalek, which I'm just so relieved. Dave Blankhorn, there he is. Dave, mate, you almost ruined the whole For Fuck's Sake, mate, by calling me, and it came through my fucking. I know that Dave-o loves a big rant. He loves it when I rant because he so relates to me. I'm a relatable ranter, aren't I? And it is Dave Blankhorn. He is the patron saint of For Fuck's Sake. It is he who did point out the fact that I say For Fuck's Sake quite a lot. And definitely I do happen to sometimes say it at jazz clubs where people have sticks up their arses. So thank you, Davey. Patron saint. I would say that's just me clapping David Blankhorn. That's all I'm saying. Now, I'm only doing 2 songs today because ultimately it's just going to be one of these short and sweet because I didn't feel like I could follow that. It's just too, it's too unutterably sad, isn't it? But I think that's a good one to go out on. Now, I've got tragic news, except it's okay. It's all right. I probably, that was too dramatic. Was that too dramatic? Probably, yes. It was a bit much, wasn't it? I have news, and that is that during the course of the rest of summer, For Fuck's Sake will be purely on a Sunday because guess what? Your hostess with the mostess here is going to have to get on a plane, start to travel, start to work, start to make a documentary about Ella Garda. Yes, don't even ask, that's coming. But worry not, because I will be absolutely on a Sunday. I'm preparing. I'm doing loads of amazing interviews. I will be in person. I will see you. I'm not letting you down. I'm not letting you go. You are too important to me. Just for summer. Just bear with. I think you can manage. I'll get lots of like private little hellos out during the course of the rest of the week, but just for the next, I think, probably through until September, I think it has to be because I just can't get on a plane and do this as well. But let me see some of your beautiful comments to me. I got a big multiple high fives from Kate Hills, and yeah. Oh dear, I know you missed talk. Thought I'd throw a gremlin. Do you know what, Dave? I have to say it was going too smoothly with the fabulous Matt Midlin and Mike Mayhew here. It's been going. Can I just say this to you guys? It's been going so smoothly. You've done such a good job. That's not to shit on talk, and yet. And I miss my banana. I miss him. Yeah, we all do. But it's going well, isn't it? Did it start doing a bit of popping? I think it's the fact. Dave Blankhorn, man, you are dead to me. But I love you. Honestly, I think that might be what's happening. You see, every time something happens and something comes in, it starts to freak it out, doesn't it? We'll get to the bottom of this. But now it's back to normal? No, it's starting to pop. It's still popping. When you say pop, it's just... Hello? Yeah, it's still popping. What does that mean? It's just making... Oh, shit. Okay, well, in that case, you know what? Yes, audio crackling a bit. Now is the time for me to give up. And I'd like you all to point the finger at my dear friend Dave Blankhorn for possibly ruining. No, he brought the spirit of David Torkanowski here. Now, I'm going to get off. I'm going to see you guys on Sunday, and we're going to have a laugh riot. It's going to be amazing. Until I see you next, look after yourselves. Do please wear those masks because Delta is out there. This has been a joy, and I bid you adieu. I, your hostess, with the mostest anger at the way we treat other human beings, but I'm going to try and calm down shortly. Judith Owen saying a right Wednesday, for fuck's sake. Love you guys. See you Sunday. Take care. Mwah!